Hi, welcome to So Sewn Knits. My name is Andrew, and I'm a knitter, sewist, and overall fiber artist coming to you from California's state capital. And welcome back to my bedroom. This has been continuously the best light, so I'm just gonna, use it. So you got a new angle. Welcome. Don't get too comfy. We'll see how this works out. But I'm glad to be back. I know I said last time that I was going to record an episode in another week or so, and I think that's been at least 3 weeks. But I have reasons. I have lots to share, both knitting and non-knitting related, and also kind of a hybrid of the two. So I'm really excited to record this podcast for you all and get this uploaded and just kind of share what's been going on with me knitting-wise and other. So I'll start with the boring stuff. Not my life stuff. We'll get to my life stuff at the end. But as far as Sacramento, as you can see, I'm in a t-shirt. Really wishing I was in Madison, Wisconsin right now. Got this when I was there this summer. Because it's very warm and I don't like it. Sacramento kind of had a bit of a cool moment going on. It was getting down to the high 60s, low 70s, which for Sacramento is definitely sweater weather. And it was great, busting out the old sweaters. And I feel like I should really wash some of mine. I don't think I've washed them when I put them away, which, is bad on me. But either way, it was great pulling them out again and seeing them again, and some that I, miss wearing. So I've been knitting for a while, but I don't have a ton of sweaters. I wasn't a sweater knitter until, hardcore sweater knitter until really recently. So the ones I do pull out, I really enjoy, and I can't wait to keep pulling them out. But as you can tell, I've had to take a hiatus from that because for some reason Sacramento's it got too cold, man. Let's boost the heat back up. So it is a balmy 88 degrees today. I think yesterday got up to be 90 again, and I am not happy. Don't love it. So hopefully we get some cooler weather here soon, and I can start wearing more of my sweaters and hand knits and everything else. So that's kind of been the pressing matter, as you can see right now. But I do have lots to share knitting-wise for sure, and we'll just jump right into that for right now, because I do have a considerable amount for me, which is kind of crazy. I'm glad I took the break, because then that meant that I have more to share with you all. So I'm going to break out some FFOs, or former finished objects, because I do have so much, and so it's something that I'd like to do to kind of bridge the gap in these first few episodes. So I have two that I'd like to share with you. The first one is this beautiful shawl. And again, I hope you can see it because it's amazing. And I got so many compliments on this. This is the Brownstone IV by Lesley Ann Robinson. She's knit graffiti on Ravelry and on Instagram, I believe, too. But you can also look her up as Lesley Ann Robinson. She is a master briocher, as I like to call it. She has amazing brioche works that are just beautiful, and some are lacy, and some are structured, and some are, just intricate or basic, or any kind of brioche project that you want to knit, she's made something for. And I just love the versatility of brioche that she offers and the creativeness with brioche. So this was my first test knit with Lesley. I was really excited. I'd never really done a test knit, I think, before this one. So I think this is my first test knit ever, which you might drop your jaw and think, well, my God, your first test knit was brioche, but I'd been brioching for a little bit before this. Trust me, I'm not crazy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was it last summer? I think it was last summer that I test knit this for Lesley Ann Robinson. And I signed up for her on her boards, on her forums. She has a call for test knitters, and so I just signed up to get notice when she has another test knit, and this was the first notice I got, was for this beautiful shawl, and my jaw hit the floor and was like, that's amazing, that's beautiful, I want it. And I just rummaged through my stash to see what I had, and luckily I had some skeins from a variety of places. These were all in my stash, I believe. Is that true? that might not be true. It's been a while. I knit this again over a year ago. So I can definitely tell you for sure that I have this tan color. It's 4 skeins. I had a lot left over, obviously, this sort of border section down here. You can see it's like a black and variegated color that are 2 color brioche here, and then there's 2 different color brioche up here. So I have this tannish color up here that is Color Notes. I got at Stitches West in 2018. It's actually a sport weight, but I still knit it up with the fingering because I was like, it's not going to be a huge difference, and it's fine. It's totally blending in with everything else. And then I knit that with, I believe, is a hedgehog fiber. That's not right. It's not a hedgehog fiber. This crimson, I believe. Basically, what you're going to do right now is probably look it up on my Ravelry where the most accurate information is and just guess how wrong I am. Because I'm sure later on I'm going to put up some information about what actually is in this shawl. I'm terrible. It's been a while. I didn't look it up beforehand because I thought I would remember. Why do I think I would remember? So I'm just going to guess. Not hedgehog fiber. I don't believe it's hedgehog fiber. The maroon, I believe, is based out of Seattle. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. Please look at my Ravelry page. It's all there, I promise. I know the name of it. We'll move on. We'll get back to her. And then the bottom border section has this black and then this variegated. The black, I believe, is hedgehog fiber. And then the variegated colorway is from Destination Yarn, who I also got at Stitches West. That was, I believe, actually was their cobblestone colorway or something like that. Maybe not exactly cobblestone, but it might be cobblestone, which I thought was perfect because the shawl name is Brownstone IV, so I was really excited to use that in this shawl. So would I say it's super basic? No. For me, it wasn't so bad. I test knit it just fine, met the deadline, no big deal. You can see how long it is, how wide it is. Wow. And it was a pretty enjoyable process. It was great. It's always great working with Lesley. She has awesome feedback, especially with, I don't know about other designers because I've pretty much mostly test knit for Lesley right now. With her, she kind of bases it on what colors you offer her. When she puts a call out, she says you need X amount of skeins of fingering weight or DK weight or whatever yarn, and then you just kind of show her what colors that you have or what you might buy to do this test knit, and she'll say yes or no to that. And so far, every time I've put stuff up, she said yes, so I guess she likes my colors, or I just post early, I don't know. I don't know how choosy she is, but that's what she says she bases it on. So hers, I think, was similar to this, but not the same. But she still chose my colors anyway. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable knit. I remember having a lot of fun with the kind of lacy section. So you kind of start with this. You still have, like, you can see all the lace on the side. I call it lace. It's brioche, but like all these increase, decrease brioche intricate sections. And then this kind of plain brioche section here. So you get a bit of a break while you're working on these rows. And then obviously at the bottom you're changing colors, you're working it all the way across. So it's very interesting, and I never lost interest knitting this. It was a really good time. And I feel like it's probably my best worn or most worn shawl that I've worn to date. Just because the colors are really unique for me. I wear a lot of blues and sometimes even greens. So this goes really well with a lot of stuff in my wardrobe. And I wear it all the time. And I have another blue shawl that I made for Lesley, but I don't wear that one as much because I wear so much blue. Like, it just blends in. So I need to diversify my wardrobe a little bit too as far as color goes. But yeah, so this is my Brownstone IV by Knit Graffiti, Lesley and Robinson. It was a great knit. I also have an even older FFO, real quick, I promise. But I happened to notice this when I was scrounging around the apartment for things to show. And I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever shown this. But hold your gasps. Hold your gasps. This was a sweater that I knit for my boyfriend. I know. We're still together. So don't worry. Boyfriend sweater curse is stupid. No, seriously, if you're worried about that, I understand. But for me, my rationale was, A, we've been together forever and we dated through Peace Corps. I'm pretty sure dating through Peace Corps was harder than me making him a sweater. You know, we're fine. And B, if he did decide to break up with me after I knit him the sweater or while I was making him the sweater, then I get a fancy sweater. So, you know, whoever invented that rule was definitely a heteronormative, scared woman. So, does not apply. Don't worry. You can turn your boyfriend's sweater into your own sweater. So this is the, I believe it's called the Fort sweater pattern from Brooklyn Tweed, knit out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. This was kind of before I started getting really fancy with stuff. So I was knitting a lot more with Knit Picks. And yeah, so it works. It's a great sweater. Good pattern. It does involve some seaming, and I love me a seam, as I've mentioned in the past. I don't understand people that hate it. I'm also a sewer, or sewist, so I guess that's part of it. But I love putting in a set-in sleeve, and you put in all those, you whip around with your tapestry needle, and then you pull on it, and it's just so satisfying every time. And then, if you see the pattern page, you'll see that they have instructions to knit elbow patches as well. They call it like a professor style sweater. I didn't really want to knit elbow patches on like a size 0. I just didn't feel like it. But my boyfriend did want elbow patches. He wanted that professor style because he really liked that. So what I ended up doing was I just went on Amazon and they have elbow patches that you can sew onto sweaters that you already own. You can just buy them online. So that's what I did. I just bought some elbow patches and I sewed them on, and I actually kind of like the texture better. I think it would be a little bit weird if it was, like, it would flex a bit more. This is a bit stiffer of an elbow patch, so there's that. But I do like that it's a fabric texture instead. But I will say sewing this on was like this dumbest sew job I've ever done. Like, not dumbest, but just, I did not enjoy the process because I'd already finished the whole sweater, and then I went to go sew on elbow patches in the sleeve. So trying to get my needle through the arm without going all the way through, yeah, that sucked. That took a while. But this elbow patch already came with, holes in it, so I don't have to worry about like finding where to stitch in. Like, already designated holes in there, so it just took a matter of just going all the way around on both sleeves. And because the sweater was finished before I put on the elbow patches, I was able to have him try it on, and I could put them exactly where his elbows actually were. My boyfriend is 6'5", he's very tall, and has long arms, so I did make the sleeves a bit longer, and part of that is sometimes if you buy a sweater with elbow patches already on it, they're going to be way higher up on him. Oh, that's the other direction. Way higher up on him, because they assume that you have shorter arms. So it was nice. I was able to make sleeves that fit him, that were long enough, and then put the elbow patches right where he wanted, right where his elbows were. So I don't know how often he wears a sweater. Sometimes I steal it, not always. But yeah, I was grateful to at least give him the satisfaction. And I think it turned out really well. I still think it's one of my best knits. So, of course, one of the best knits is something that my boyfriend has. But overall, I'm super happy with it. I'm proud. So yeah. So that is all my FFOs. And I have a considerable number of finished objects. I'm kind of surprised. More than I expected. Actually, that's a lie. I think I only have one, which is over there. So my current finished object that I have is this hat that I was working on last time. It is the Iris hat by Sari Nordlund. Of course, I finished it right before she started a knit along. So if you're interested in knitting this hat, I really recommend it. It was super easy, top-down hat, which I don't do very often, so that was kind of interesting. I did a tubular bind-off because that's just my preferred bind-off. I know not everybody likes that. They feel like it's probably too much, and for a hat it probably is, but I'm extra. I like a good tubular bind-off and cast-on. And I didn't do the triple fold cuff because I live in Sacramento where it's almost November and 90 degrees, so I would never need a triple fold cuff. So there's that. So I do still like the way it turned out. I like the way the yarns kind of worked together, the mohair and the fingering weight yarn that I had. It looks really good, and even without the triple fold, it's long enough, it's a little slouchy, and it's not too warm. Like, it's definitely warm, but it's not suffocating me either, so I'm really happy with it. It's still kind of breathable of a hat, so I haven't been able to use much of it yet, but I'm sure it'll get colder in November and December, and we also have a trip planned to Portland that I will talk about in a second, so hopefully in Portland it'll be nice and cold and I can wear it there. So yeah, I'm really happy. Seriously, if you guys are curious at all about knitting this hat, super basic, 1x1 rib, top down, so it's kind of interesting. You can knit to as long as you want. I really recommend it. And again, Sari Nordlund is doing a knit along, so I would check her out in her forums, join in on that knit along. I think I'm going to join in as well and knit another one because I skipped the triple fold brim, I still had half of each skein left over. So I could totally knit another one of these. So just know that. I used about a half skein of each the mohair and the fingering weight yarn to do this. And I have a big head, so I made it a bit wider and probably a little bit longer than other people would, and I still had half left. So if you do knit it like me and a little bit shorter, then probably even more left over, right? So, but yeah, super great knit, super love it. That's my FO. That's it. I have been knitting furiously lately though, and brainstorming ideas, doing different things, that kind of a thing. So since the last time I podcasted, I did go to Lambtown. Lambtown, like I think I mentioned in the last episode. I don't remember. I recorded that episode like 5 times, so don't always remember what I said. But Lambtown is a festival here in the Northern California area. It's in Dixon, California, which probably if you're not from California or this area, you don't know where that is. It's like 40-ish, 30-ish minutes away from Sacramento towards the Bay Area. And if you're coming from the Bay Area, maybe like an hour and a half-ish, maybe less. So somewhere in between. It's definitely farmland, small town. So it was great for like a knitting festival, a sheep festival is really what it was. And so we got to see all the sheep and get to meet the sheep shearer. They did like a sheepdog demonstrations. We went last year, so I was expecting it, but it's still a great time to see all that action going on and really get a first-hand look at where your yarn comes from. I think that's really important to see. And I really loved meeting all the different sheeps. And there's a whole barn that I feel like I missed last time that I don't know how I did. It's just a little bit further from the shearing barn of where they have all the sheep that are for sale and even just on display. So you got to meet all the different sheep breeds that were available, and it was really, really cool to see. So we had a good time. We spent a full Saturday there. It was the full weekend, but we just did Saturday, and that was enough for us. And I was seriously on a yarn diet. I didn't need to buy any more yarn. But I bought more yarn, of course. Not that much. I only bought 2 skeins, but 2 skeins more than I needed, for sure. And there were some great vendors, and some that had come back from last year, some that were new to me that I'd never seen before. So it was great kind of seeing the variety, especially a lot that were local. So I do like supporting local businesses and local dyers if I can. Even if that means when I'm supporting local elsewhere, like when I was in Madison, I was really grateful to support those local businesses and dyers because I like having that kind of unique skein that I'm not going to get here in California. But likewise, I like to do the same while I'm here get some new to me dyers or whatever. And one that was new to me, and I think just new in general, there was, actually I should just grab it right here, the Black Squirrel. Yes, the Black Squirrel is a yarn store in Berkeley, California, so not too far. But I've never really been to any yarn stores in the Bay Area. I think I went to one in San Francisco once and was overwhelmed. It wasn't obviously very wide. It was a very tall store, so a lot of the yarn that you were looking for was like up a ladder that you had to ask help for. Because as you can imagine, San Francisco is very squished. But yeah, I haven't been to any. I know there's some in Berkeley and in Oakland in that area in the East Bay. And one of them is the Black Squirrel that was at Lambtown. And the owner / worker, I'm so sorry, I don't know if you're the owner or not. But you can follow her on Instagram. She's great. I got to meet the woman behind Black Squirrel. His name escapes me. I'm great with all these, right? And she had this whole wall of yarn that she had dyed. And for her, I was talking to her for a little bit. She said that it was just a total kind of experiment. Like, she's breaking into testing out if she likes dyeing yarn or not. And she stole the show for me. Like, that's the booth that I saw in the morning when we first got in, went to go sheep shearing, and thought about it all the while I was looking at sheep being sheared and watching the sheepdogs, and, you know, when I was out there, dying to go back and immediately rush to her booth. And that's what I did. So I saw her immediately in the morning on Saturday, did this whole wall, it was beautiful, did my sheep thing, came back at like, I think I had lunch too, so I came back at like 2 o'clock, so from 9:30 to 2 o'clock, almost her whole wall was gone. And I was like, okay, I gotta buy something. I was a little pressured, but like personally pressured to definitely get something before it's all gone. And there was still stuff that I wanted. Like, there was a ton of things that I wanted, even though she was almost sold out. But I only settled on 2 that I really love. And they are these skeins right here. They're so beautiful. I'm sure I'll make something with these together. I don't know what yet, but I just had to have something. So definitely, if you've never heard of Black Squirrel, I think she's dyeing up some more stuff in the near future. Like I said, this for her was like a total experiment. I don't know how much she'll be dyeing in the future, but I think because of the overwhelmingly positive reception that she got, she'll probably dye some more. So I would keep an ear out for more of her yarn. But it's so beautiful. And the thing with her yarn is I'm not a big fan of neon. That's just not my style. But she still had a lot of really great tonals and speckles that were not neon, like these guys that I really loved. But every skein that she had there had neon in it somewhere. And of course, you can't tell that this has, or no, excuse me, not neon. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, she does have some neon skeins, but every skein that she has glow-in-the-dark dye. That's what it is. Like, it glows under black light. I'm really failing at that description. I'm sorry. She has dye that glows under black light in all of her skeins. And there are some skeins that she had that completely glowed under black light, and some like these where it's probably just speckles, very subtle, but they do contain dye that responds to black light. So it was really cool because she had a little black light with her, like on her keychain, and she was just like, yeah, they all have dye in it that responds to black light. Here you go. Here's my black light. Just shine them on whatever you want. And so I was going through all the skeins and seeing how much they glow or how little they glow, but they all did, and these did too. So it was really kind of exciting. Like, it was a cool idea for her to implement into her skeins. So like I said, you probably wouldn't guess that these respond to black light. You wouldn't know where. I don't even know where, but I know that they do because all of them did. So I'm really excited to find a project to make with these skeins. Like I said, I don't know what, but I just couldn't resist. It was so great. I did also buy a skein of roving. Skein? It's like skeined up like this, so I guess it's a skein. I don't have it with me, but it's, I believe, some Corriedale. Don't quote me on that. But if I figure out how to edit eventually, maybe you'll see it somewhere on the screen. I don't know. or I'll put in some info. If nothing pops up right now, then it's down below for sure. But I believe it was from Sincere Sheep. But it is some roving that I hope to spin with. I have been looking into spinning wheels. We'll see. I really want to get started. I used a drop spindle plenty, but I want to go faster, you know? Like, I want to make more, so we'll see how I deal with it. I've never used a spinning wheel, so I'm going to try and hopefully use my friend's Ladybug, and we'll go from there and see if I want a spinning wheel for myself. But yeah, so I got some roving as well at Stitches, which was cheap. So the good thing about roving is it's usually cheap. So yeah, so that was my Lambtown haul. It was a great time. I can't wait for next year. I also just really can't wait for Stitches again. Stitches, they both fulfill different needs. Lambtown's great because it kind of, you get to see the sheep and where your yarn comes from, and it's very grassroots kind of a thing, and I love that. But also I love Stitches because it's such a more community, and it's this big venue, and there's all these people from all over the country, really. So I love the excitement of Stitches as well. And it always falls around my birthday. And this year it's starting, the first day of Stitches West is going to be my 30th birthday. I'm turning 30 soon, so that'll be really fun. I really can't wait for that as well. So anyway, I have more yarn things to share. God, I should stop blabbering. So, I'll save that till the end. I have some whips to share with you all, that some I've been actively knitting on and some I have not, that I just haven't shown you, I don't think. So, the first one I'll share really quick. I was looking through my old podcast. I don't think I ever shared this, which is so weird to me. But speaking of spinning, I'm knitting this. I feel like I've talked about this. Maybe it was one of those deleted episodes. It must have been. But this is the Shiftalong by Andrea Mowry that I'm currently knitting on. It's been kind of put to the side, but I'm excited to be knitting on it because everything that you see here is my hand spun yarn. So that was really cool to be able to spin my yarn, and now I'm knitting with it. So it's been cool it's been a cool experience to go from like roving to now here. And once it's done, it'll be really cool to wear. So yeah, I really love it so far. It's very like, I feel like I've said before, and I might have offended people by saying this, but it's kind of ugly 70s, you know, like earth tones. But I kind of like that. I like that it's sort of quote-unquote ugly colors that go together. I don't know. Maybe some people are like, that's not ugly, what are you talking about? And I'm sorry. But I don't know. It's just, that's what it reminds me of. It's like these like puke green, and I'm really not selling this, am I? And like a maroon greeny combo. Either way, I think it's super ugly, and that's why it's cool. So if that's offensive, sorry, but it's also not your hat, so what does it matter, you know? But so far, oops, let me turn that around. So far, I think it's gonna be really cool. I just started the decreases, so it should hopefully be done soon. It's not gonna be super slouchy. I don't think I have enough hand spun for that, so yeah, it'll be great. But the whip that I've been working on the most lately is another test knit, because I just can't not do test knits. I've had this yarn saved in my stash for a long time. From Stitches of this year, I bought 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn to make a sweater with from Hugh Loco. It's beautiful yarn, guys. You're gonna see. And Maxim Sear is a designer, if you haven't seen him. He has done those beautiful sweaters that are like for fox sake sweaters, the fox with the glasses, or the ones in floral, like the flower designed yoke sweater. They're really beautiful stuff. And I do want to make some of those someday too. But he put out a test for a very basic pullover, and I love me some wardrobe staples, you know. So I knew I had that one sweater quantity. It was my only sweater quantity in my stash. I don't tend to hoard a ton of yarn. So I was like, yes, please, can I test knit your sweater? And he was like, yep, I'm picking you. So I was really excited. I'm pretty sure I cast this on 3 weeks ago, and I'm already pretty close to being done. So I'm really pumped. It's still in testing, so you can't buy the pattern just yet. Our deadline is not for a little while, which excites me because that tells me I can knit a fingering weight sweater in like probably gonna be a month. I'll probably finish next week. That'll be cool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. There are some edits that need to happen, but you know, that's what happens in a test knit. So that'll get all figured out, I'm sure, by the time it gets published. So this is the So Basic sweater from Maxim's here, Max the Knitter, on Instagram. Whoops, there we go. The one thing is that I knit one of the sleeves first, just to test the pattern, and it wasn't quite right, and I think I also made it a little bit too long. This yarn is also my first superwash weights or superwash wool sweater, so I've been told a million times that superwash tends to grow a little bit, so I didn't want to make the sleeves too long for that reason. So I did kind of shorten the sleeves just like an inch than my normal sleeve length, and I need to do that on the first sleeve that I did because I made it a bit too long, and also the bind off was very tight. I don't know, I guess I was stressed that day or something, so I can't even put my hand through the bind off. And again, all bind offs and cast ons are tubular because I just love me a good tubular cast on and bind off. So yeah, I need to redo that and a little bit of the sleeve, just a little. It's probably like, no, this is the one that was good. Probably like, yeah, I don't know, like this much, maybe something like that. So not too much. And then just the rest of the body. I think he said to knit till it's 16 inches from the underarms, and right now I'm at like 9 inches, so I'm pretty close to being done. It is just stockinette in the round though, for miles and miles. But I love that it's basic. I love the colors. Everyone's been complimenting me on the yarn. So again, Hue Loco in their superwash wool. It's beautiful. This one's called Confetti Cake. And it really is, like, if you can see, it's like this brown with little bits of, with like rainbow in it and stuff. It's so cool. And surprise, surprise, don't shoot me for it, but I am not like alternating skeins. Just didn't feel like it. I also didn't swatch. I am being a true rebel on this sweater, and that's totally fine by me. And so far I feel like it's working out. It's definitely not going to be too small. So that's always my thing, is if it's just very loose, that's fine. But if it's very tight, that's not going to work for me. My Guthrie, that I don't know if I've shared, but is very tight, and I didn't expect that. So never worn it because of that. I need to fix it. But this one is so far fitting me just fine, besides the bind off I need to redo. And I really like it, and it's very soft, and the colors are really great, and it's just going to be a great thing to put on for work or just as like a basic sweater to have. So it'll be really, really cool once it's done. Max also does this like faux, kind of like the sleeve or the you know, elbow patch that I have on this sweater. It's very like suede-y, some kind of texture fabric piece that he cuts out as like a pocket and then sews it on, which I might do or I might not. To be honest, I might just do it and then I'll probably hate it and then take it off. We'll see when I get there. But I'm excited to have it finished and to be wearing it for my trip to Portland in 2 weeks. And that's a great segue. I'm going to take it because I have nothing more to say about this. I think the pattern's going to come out in like maybe not late November, maybe the end of the year sometime. I don't know. Check on Max's Instagram for any updates. So basic sweater. And yeah, like I said, in 2 weeks I'll be going to Portland, Oregon with some friends and my boyfriend, and really looking forward to that. I've been to Portland a few times, but I don't think I've ever done anything yarn related in Portland, which is a sin, I know. But it was at a time, I went there at a time when I wasn't so involved with knitting. So I just didn't, it wasn't on my radar at all. This time it is. That's going to be my main goal for going to Portland, among other cool touristy things, I'm sure. So yeah, it'll be a great time. And I'm going to go visit Starlight Knitting Society and Bolt, which is a really cool fabric store that was recommended to me. And there's like a new yarn store I've been told about, like Weird Sisters or something like that. I'm just really excited to see it all. There's so many options in Portland, which is great. So I think we're going to take a day. Me and another friend that's going is also a knitter, so we're going to take a day and just explore every yarn store that we can. And we are getting a rental car, thank goodness, because they're kind of spread apart, so it'll be really, really fun. So I can't wait to go and buy some fabric and some yarn and yeah, and meet all the knitters of Portland. So if you're in the Portland area or you have any recommendations for me to go in Portland, please let me know. I would love any recommendations before we start heading over there. So, yeah. The only other thing I have besides those and life updates is I made one little, a couple of changes. One of which is that I now, that I now work for Rumpelstiltskin, which is my local yarn store. If you watch Jill of Good Witch Knits channel, you'll know that she does work there, or she's mentioned before. And I would say I kind of helped her with that job, like getting that job. She has a bit looser of a schedule than I do in her normal day job, so she's a bit more flexible. I am not, but I was hired on as some help for this kind of fall season. So it's been a cool experience to like see all the Sacramento knitters and help out at the store, what it's like working in a yarn store. I don't get to sit and knit all day, as some people have asked me. It is a job, and I'm working. But it's a good time, even though it's a job. I really enjoy it. And part of that is when I was working last weekend, the new Making magazine came out, the Forest edition, and I don't really buy any of those publications very often, or really knitting books at all. But I was really drawn to the Forest one, and I just kept staring at me, and now I know the troubles of working in a yarn store is that you're going to be around it all the time and tempted. So I just bought it. I was like, I need the Making magazine. And I was also the most inspired by this edition because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of everything in Making. There's knitting, but also sewing and crochet and weaving and all kinds of stuff. But the thing that really drew me in was the little sewn mushrooms. I'm so excited. I thought it had to be hand sewn, but apparently you can use the sewing machine for these, so I'm excited to make some little mushrooms. My boyfriend loves mushrooms, and I think they're adorable, so it'll be cool to have little mushroom ornaments for our Christmas tree this year. So, and there's some great sweater patterns in here too that I really hope to make. There's some great like macrame and again, more sewing patterns. Oh, there's like overalls in here. They're fine. I don't know. But there's there's this really cool hat pattern. You seen this? Oh my god, that one. I can't wait to make that one. That'll be cool. That's the reverse hat by Alice Caetano. Hopefully I said that correctly. And then this one, the height pullover. Oh, this one is so cool. It's a really cool color work sweater. Hopefully you can see that. I can barely see that. But like I said, it's the HYTTE, the height pullover by Paula Pereira. So that'll be really cool. That'll be down the line. But in the meantime, mushrooms. I'm really excited to be sewing those. But yeah, that's kind of it for me knitting wise. I think I have like a sock, but I've definitely shown that before, and it's like a UFO at this point. It's fine. But that's the biggest stuff for me. Biggest changes and life updates. The only other one, if you're cool with my life updates and don't want to know, I understand. Thank you for joining me. That's all I have for knitting and sewing. No sewing, but future sewing. But yeah, I yesterday got a call for a new job. So if you know me in real life, you know that that's something that I've been really hoping for. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm now working at the yarn store in town part-time, but I'm also taking on a new part-time or full-time job. So there's going to be a lot of changes work-wise for me. I'm excited. It's going to be great, I think. The people that I interviewed with were really amazing, and I think it's going to be a great change. So, but there is going to be a lot of change for that reason. And I know I already have a spotty podcast schedule, but I'm saying that don't expect too much more from me, even more so than that. So, just so you guys are all aware. But it's also just really exciting, and I just accepted the job today and told my boss I was leaving today, so I'm still like shout it on the rooftop mode, and that includes you guys. So I have a new job. I'm so ready. I'm so excited. It's a great promotion, more money, great new office. It's gonna be great. So really excited. Great way to end my 2019 for sure. So yeah, I have some things planned in the future knitting wise. I have potentially some designing that I might want to try and do. We'll see how far I get with that. And also, for the longest time, I've been trying to make bags, and I think I'm going to start consciously making some headway on that in my ounces of spare time. We'll see. But I have more and more ideas with that. So hopefully you guys will see some bags from me in the near future. Don't hold your breath again, but it's on the horizon. It's in my mind. It's conscious effort for sure. So, but yeah, so that is it for me of So Sewn Knits. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye!